Because most of the time, Mr. Gay, the way we handle our children is very sad. Sometimes we destroy their intelligence, and I would say it this way confidently. Sometimes we let to their lack of sort of like concentration in school, their lack of connection, and the lack of understanding. Because if the child is very young, within the age 2, we see in the Gambia here, within the age 2, once your child starts walking or even crawling on the line, you start seeing the mothers beating them when they happen to touch something. And that is not their fault. And this is where you will see Piaget on intellectual development looks at the child and said, what happens to the child is not the child's fault. Perhaps it's the parents' fault. Parents sometimes, of course, we blame the children. You will now see that you will place a cup of tea. It's of course very hot. But now the child is crawling. The child just crawls towards the cup and happens to touch the cups. It pours on him on the line. All of a sudden you just said that, wow, this guy is very stubborn. You don't even know how this child is on the line.
Sometimes
you blame the child, and you may even beat on his back, his or her back. That child, the tissues are very soft at that stage. 2 years, the tissues of the child is very soft. And you have to be very careful. Because when you are beating on the child's back, you have to take note that the brain is connected through some nervous system, that connects to the whole part of the body. And, they run through the back. They run through the back. And, you're not understanding this. The moment you beat the child on the back, what will happen is like there is a disconnection. And that's why most of the children, once you beat them on their back and you want to say, why do you do this? They won't say anything. They won't say anything because there is no connection of what reasoning that they will be able to tell you why and so forth. So all those things contributes to the child, failure of his cognition. And I always used to say that when a child is within that age, 0 to 5, the child is at discovery stage. The child don't needs to be stopped on anything. The child needs to be controlled. And how do you control the child? You have to make sure that if there is a cup of tea, if the child is moving towards that place, don't beat the child or even draw the child to stop moving. Once you stop the child moving, you are stopping the brain. Because the legs and the hands that are active, moving and the like are coordinated by the brain. So the moment you stop the child, is the brain that stops. Even you at your stage, it is your brain that will touch on something, you decide to stop and what? Change direction. So when the child is at that exploratory stage, we have to allow the brain to keep on working. But the moment we keep stopping them and the like, we are stopping their brains. And we have to take note of some of these things, which I believe most do not understand because they have not got proper orientation of what, upbringing of their children. And this is very key in their development. You talked about the environment. The environment, you see, where the child lives, is exposed to a lot of threats. We have seen some parents, what will happen is like, when they are giving their children some of these drugs and the like, they always open it and then, give it to them to drink and then leave it like that. Okay. I used to give an example of a scenario where we have seen, a child being rushed to the health center simply because has drank that surgical spirit, because the mother has sort of like a 2-year-old plus, child, and now have a newborn baby who has been asked to use surgical spirit to be cleaning the oblongata, and then such. You see, after opening the bottle, you place it like that. So the child, the 2-year-plus child thought that it's just the same, drugs, normal syrups, that used to be given. And sometimes they used to be very nice, so just picked it up and drinks it. Of a sudden you realize that, inside is destroyed, and that is what you will just say that the child is stubborn. But that's not stubborn, that's the carelessness of the mother. I'm sorry to say this, but it's the fact. We see that those are carelessness of how we take care of our children in life. You see that our environment is threatened, and then we have nothing to do. We have to allow the children to develop properly, Mr. Gay. You see, at home you will realize that we tend to beat them on anything that they touch around. And they are at their discovery stage. If you don't allow them to continue to discover, it reduces their level of intelligence. Because you place things anyhow, everywhere, and so forth. You place your cup of tea, you place your mobile and the like. If the child turns to the mobile, you stop the child, draw the child back, or you beat the child for failing your mobile and so forth. That you are seriously offending the child. You see, in the West, we have to acknowledge, we have seen, even if we don't travel to that place, but we have to see how they are set up in their houses are. You normally have a special room which is dedicated for children, as they grow. So they place all necessary things around, and the child will be able to explore, interact, do anything that he wants to do. And that helps in their development, and that is why their IQ is very high. But here in our homes, we don't have any. So with the little space that the children have around, if they are moving around, they become a threat to them. Anywhere they want to move, you draw the child back. Anywhere they want to turn to, you draw the child back. At the end of the day, you are stopping the brain, the child's brain never continue functioning. And that has an impact on their intelligence. And this we have to understand very well. We don't have space for children. You close from school, you place your books, you want to maybe write something and the like. All of a sudden you just got up. The child pick up the pen and then is trying to display his or her motor skills, scratching, the pages of your book, and you become annoyed. You beat the child. In fact, sometimes if it is a book that does not belong to you, or a test paper that you are worried what will you explain and like, you tend to throw the child away, and so forth. Which is what? You don't tend to blame yourself for understanding first, I have a child who is at this stage. If I place this thing, the child will touch it. Why not I place it at a place where the child will not access? So that will not draw his or her attention. You have not thought of that. And now the child touches it. You say the child do not think. You expect the child to be able to reason at that level. So who is the problem here? So these are situations that we are facing, and that is why we have societal impact on the child. Factors that are affecting the child in society. Factors affecting the child in the environment. We endanger the environment for the child. You have a socket there, you plug in your mobile, you don't want the child to go that way. You have a kettle there, you don't want the child to go that way. You have your the receiver of the television in front there, you don't want the child to go there. You place books there, you don't want the child to go there. Where will the child go? How will the child explore? So all these things affect the child's development. And that is why early childhood development is very important. As we train them, we let them be aware of all this. And this is why we tell them that if you are enrolling any child into school, let the parents understand that the development of the child is not one-sided. It has to be on both sides. The parents and the teachers have a role. Sensitize them, orient them to understand how both of you need to collaborate in order to help their children develop properly. Otherwise, to me, I see no reason like, I'll be conscious of the money. Hey, this is a school and the parents are paying, a lot of money and the like. So what happens is I have to enroll them anyhow. No. Tell the parents that, listen, as you are about to entrust your children to us, we want to share with you certain policies and regulations that we need to abide by. You're giving us this child and it's less than 5 years. Now, could we please let you understand that you don't have to be inflicting pain or you have to be beating this child. Please make sure that whatever the child does, support the child but never beat the child. Because once you've beaten the child, you're stopping the cognitive development, you're stopping the motor skill, you're stopping the affective domain and so forth. So the parents has to understand that and support you so that there will be a continuous process of developing that child. But if the school are doing their best, because they are well trained on how to handle them, and the home is destroying, then development will be very difficult. Thank you, Mr. Guy.
Okay, thank you, Umar A. Baji. Well, viewers, we are having an exciting edition, and this program is coming to you live streaming live on Senbian's VIP magazine, and of course it's the students' platform, Talk on Education Forum. My name is Balain K. Our topic is focused on the importance of ECD education in the Gambia. Yes, back to you, Omar. When you look at the ECD program, I think most of what you have said here is very important or vital. And I believe the information needs to be sent to the community as well, because mothers at home need to get some of this information that you have talked about. What do you think the government can do so that at least those in our society or those at home can have this basic information about how to take care of your child at home, then especially at tender age?
Thank you very much. I think, Mr. Gay, I would say, you see, we have a situation in the Gambia. You see, information sharing is selective. You see, sometimes you only invite or go for the one that you know. And that is why people are there with the right information and not the right people who are invited to talk about that particular issue. You only go for people that you know. Perhaps sometimes you know, it is taken as an opportunity to make somebody popular or to make somebody known. And this is something which is happening in the country, and that is why we are finding it difficult to move. We are finding it difficult to settle other issues and the like, because you want to invite somebody so that the person will be known, and somebody, you know, the person will be popular for whatever purpose best known to the individuals and the like. But many a times, you will realize that this guy is the one in this domain, and you know, your intention will always be like, you know, going for the one that you know, so that many people will see that individual, many people will now recognize that individual for a particular purpose best known to you. But then, you know, it is not, you know, in all cases for the interest of the, you know, population or the country. And this is one aspect. But then, you know, otherwise, we could have a lot of sensitization program. We could have outreach, at least to talk to the society, to talk to parents also. But you see, it needs coordinated and collaborative efforts, which perhaps individually we cannot do, but collectively we will be ready to at least you know, give the time that is available for the development of our country.
You realize that child right is something that is prioritized, is given key attention. At school, the teachers take good care of the children who are in school. And then if, for example, anything happens to the child and the child comes to school and reports a problem that happens at home, in most cases you see the government take action. I think, in your own opinion, what do you think the government of the day can do in terms of reviewing policies that can encourage such practice?
See, if you want to solve a problem, you go to the people who are facing the problem, and you ask them what is their problem. Once they give you a problem, then the problem will be solved. But you don't sit in offices and design solutions for people, you know, on problems that have been assumed. You have to get to the problem, to find out the root cause of the problem, and they give you the solutions to their problem. But if you want to just imagine a problem in a particular community because you know that this is the environment in that particular community, you know, you design a proposal or you design whatsoever that it is, and now try to bring, you know, things that you may think that will be able to address that. That may be not the right approach to solve people's problem, and that's why problems keeps on persisting in communities that has been even given, you know, certain projects whatsoever, because that particular project that you get them is not the right project that will solve their problem. And these are issues that we have been seeing and the like. So the way we conduct our baseline survey and whatsoever, sometimes, to my opinion, it is not the right, you know, way. And that we need to understand how to go about it if we want to develop. Otherwise, if we want to make in things, you know, through imagination or, you know, in absentia, it will be very difficult for us to realize our goal. And just to come back to that, government needs to play a proactive role in this. And I will just come back to, you know, our domain, which is the ECD aspect. You see, government have to realize that the quality that they are looking for starts from the early childhood development. Today, most of the ECD schools are private, owned, schools and the like. And most of them, because they are private, some of the proprietors, have no knowledge about ECD. The only thing is they are lucky to have a friend who is ready to sponsor.
So to have an apartment sort of.
Exactly. And then who is ready to sponsor, the program and the like. And they set up the ECD at their homes or so. And then they start it up. As time goes on, they look for a land, build, the structures, and they start training. When they have not got the right training, in order to understand, so that they will be able to guide and monitor the teachers who are teaching. So if the head teacher or the proprietor or the one leading the school has no ECD knowledge and the like, then it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem, because they are not qualified. People have the opportunity. Yeah, I have a friend, away, and they want to support me. I want to start an ECD school. You go to the government, you have the resources and whatsoever and the like. They give you the green light and so forth. But at the end of the day, how will you manage and monitor that school? How will you be able to help that school? Because we have schools that don't even have the materials. The structures are there. They are able to employ and pay the teachers good. But they don't even know the type of materials that are needed in the ECD school. A teacher will need a particular material, and then perhaps in that lesson the material is not available before the head teacher or the proprietor knows that this material is also needed. And this is why we need to be proactive. We need to at least do justice to whatever that we are to do. We don't just have to hide behind pretext of pretending we know when we know not. So it is indeed very important that we understand what it needs. The government has to reflect back to ECD, because that's the foundation. If your foundation is not strong, the results will continue to be poor. If the foundation is not strong, then the quality that they are looking for will never be achieved, whether they like it or not. You see, the truth is the truth. From here, even if you are going to be stopped from talking, but that's the truth. So the thing is, it's high time that government understands that, well, we are not concentrating on this part much, but it needs to be looked at. In other countries, obviously, let me tell you what they pay their ECD teachers, because they understand the importance of it. And that is why before they take you as an ECD teacher, you must pass through certain training. They must be so that you can handle this particular level. And now they will be able to now pay you what it wants you to be able to deliver. I used to say this: government has to understand the situation and plight of the country. Many people, like you said earlier, are not, with their good credits, are not going to the ECD. They are going to the ATC because of what they pay. People know that, well, if I am to go and teach ECD, they will not pay me nothing more than 1,500, perhaps. So why would I apply for ECD? Why wouldn't I apply for advanced diploma or ATC, that at the end of the day I may be paid around 5,000 plus? So this is the case. So the government wants to understand that these are situations where people make priority when they want to apply for certain things. People, even without the right knowledge, right skills and whatsoever, they always want to go high because they want to get the amount of money. Because we know that most of us are poor by status or by whatsoever, as defined, that is why our reflection to what we need is salary. We attach our interest to salary. We attach to see that, well, I must have a salary that can, keep me for the whole month. So if the salary is not keeping me for a whole month, what happens is I will go for where, I can get salary that keeps me for a whole month. So they need to pay good in the ECD so that people will be attracted to go to the ECD. And to me, even bachelor holders could have a training, and then with their knowledge and experience, come down to the lower level to give a very good foundation to that level. Let them be given the pedagogy needed at that level. With their knowledge and then capacity, they will be able to devise means and whatsoever to help those young people to be developed properly. Instead of thinking of those who could not have the right credits to be, trained in that aspect and go back there, they will make no difference at the end of the day.
Thank you. So finally, what would be your advice to the prospective ECD teachers and to also those who are active in the system?
Continuous development is one thing that keeps somebody, on top of whatever that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You see, personally, I was not trained on that domain, but when I developed interest in it, I started reading wide. I started making consultation. I started making online researches. I started communicating with experts and so forth, getting materials. I based myself with issues and the like. And as I was also managing an ECD school, I tried to understand the behaviors, the psychological situations and whatsoever, and try to make a study on them, at least to put a base. And this helped me as well whenever I'm delivering the courses that I'm assigned to deliver. So it is indeed very, very important that we understand what it needs and what it takes to develop those level of people. And to the teachers, keep up the momentum, because I believe whatever that you're to do and doing it properly, it has to be coordinated and helped by the commitment. Those who decide to take up the ECD program as a career, it's like an ambition has drawn them into it. And with that ambition, they can change and become better, And those who are yet to, I urge you that ECD is a fascinating area that you can, make a living. If our government, our authorities understood the importance of ECD, I think the shift for quality education will start from the ECD. Otherwise, I'm telling you, it's just a dream. If we do not establish quality at the ECD level, the dream of quality education will never be achieved. And then to the government also, take note and support all areas, understand all areas. We have to be proactive and support our system instead of supporting our pockets. And then we have to be committed in whatever responsibility that we are given. So this is going to help the situations to be better. Thank you very much. And to the viewers as well, we hope that we are able to do justice to whatever that we are discussing here. We request your pardon for any error made along the discussion, and I thank you all for joining us.
Okay, thank you very much, Omar A. Baji. Of course, you have definitely done very well in terms of addressing the topic that was given, talking about the importance of early childhood development education in the Gambia. Well, viewers, that does it for our today's edition of the Students Platform Talk on Education Forum. And of course, it was streaming live on SNBN's VIP magazine. Until we come your way next week, my name is Palan Gay, and bye for now.